Alright guys, so I've been living in Akita Prefecture for almost 3 years. And as anyone who's ever lived in Akita Prefecture for almost 3 years knows, is that basically makes me an expert on everything Akita. Okay, so first things first, we just gotta get this out of the way. It's pronounced Akita. Akita. Akita Prefecture. Akita-ken. Akita-inu. Yeah, not Akita. Akita Prefecture. Akita dog. Akita-inu. No, Akita. And Akita Prefecture is located on the western side of the northeastern part of Japan, known as the Tohoku region. Akitans can expect to experience the full glory of 4 seasons when residing here. That means in the winter, when it's cold, it's really cold. Also, in the summer, when it's hot, it's really hot. My favorite seasons in Akita are fall, when you can see beautiful koyo or fall leaves and foliage, and spring, when breathtaking sakura is around every corner. There's some famous spots here for sakura. Akita Prefecture is the 6th largest out of all 47 todofuken, or territories, prefectures in Japan, in terms of area, but ranked 38th in population, with roughly 952,000 inhabitants. That means the population density of Akita is about 81 people per square kilometer, and that would be 45th out of all 47 territories. And I'm not even going to look into the age demographics of these stats because that's just gonna make me sad. Akita's mascot is Nachi, a cute version of the famous demon character called Namahage that comes from the Oga Peninsula. I mean, yeah, he looks a little awkward, but if you ask me, it's still better than that last mascot we had, which was just a pine tree that looked like it was designed by an elementary school student. Another famous mascot of Akita, though unofficial, is the Akita-inu. I love Akita-inu. They are such amazing dogs. I mean, there's even a small museum in Odate dedicated to them, though the museum could use some revamping, in my humble opinion. I don't even really recommend going there for tourists. But have you seen Hachiko? It's a pretty good movie. The original or the American version. The dog in that movie is based on an Akita-inu who actually existed, and there's a statue in Shibuya which is pretty famous. Speaking of pine trees, Akita has some beautiful nature. There's forests, mountains, rivers, beaches, so on and so forth. I truly love the natural landscapes that Akita has to offer. Some of my favorites include Mount Chokai, Nekobari Iwa, Akamizu Ravine, Oyasu Ravine, Nyudozaki, Dakigaeri Gorge, and the rice fields right outside of my apartment. I mean, no, I'm not kidding you. They are right outside of my apartment. I take one step out, cross the railroad tracks, and this is what you see. This is what you see. There's no buildings or anything, so it makes for pretty beautiful sunsets, but yeah. Other than its nature, Akita has some pretty famous festivals and attractions. I'm talking about Kanto Festival, a festival where people balance these giant lanterns down the streets of Akita City. This is also the only time I've ever seen a full train in Akita. There's also the Samurai Village in Kakunodate, which is pretty cool in and of itself, but as I mentioned earlier, there's some really awesome cherry blossom spots, and Kakunodate is one of them. This place is super famous, especially in Tohoku, for seeing cherry blossoms. Akita is also well known for its awesome winter festivals, my favorite of which would have to be Sero Matsuri, or the Namahage Festival, as it's often referred to, which is held in winter in the Oga Peninsula. There's also Tsurunoyu Onsen, which is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's breathtaking, literally. It's hard to breathe there because of all the sulfur in the water, and it smells like rotten eggs, and if you go in, and even if you take a shower, you'll smell like rotten eggs for 3 days, but if you're okay with that, it's totally worth it. But as far as for sightseeing, it's really awesome. Also, there's Lake Tazawako, the deepest lake in Japan, not the biggest lake, but the deepest lake in Japan. Not super awesome for sightseeing, but if you're out there, it might be worth stopping by. There's also a really beautiful statue of like some goddess there. Super like really just very dignified statue if you're interested. Oh yeah, they also host the biggest fireworks tournament in Japan every August in Omagari. Yeah, I mean it's a fireworks tournament. I didn't know there could be like fireworks tournaments, but it's really cool, pretty famous. Actually, people from outside of Akita, even when I go to Tokyo, people talk about it, and it's pretty cool. They have the fireworks going off, synced with music. Should definitely check that out. Akita Prefecture also boasts some famous food and drink. The foods I think of when I think of Akita Prefecture, of course, it's kiritampo, which is basically pounded and roasted rice put in either a like soup, really good soup, or just put with this really delicious miso sauce and kind of just eaten as is. Both are really good. There's also hata hata, which is a type of fish. I don't really eat fish, so I can't tell you much about this one. Other than that, it just tastes like fish to me. Babahera is a local kind of ice cream that is named after the cute old ladies that serve it. Oh yeah, and let's just not forget Akita's rice in general, which is delicious. It's called, well, there's many brands, but the most famous is probably Akita Komachi. And you know, before moving to Akita, I thought Japanese people were just kind of being pretentious when they said that, you know, Japanese white rice tastes better than white rice anywhere else. But it turns out that I actually believe that's true. The white rice here just tastes so good. You can just eat it plain. Just put some like salt or sesame seeds on top to eat the rice. And of course, that is related to why Akita has some very good sake. If you're into sake, which is Japanese rice wine, pretty well-known sake coming out of Akita. I think sake is disgusting, so I don't drink it. I'm not a huge drinker in general, but you know, especially with Japanese sake, every time I drink it, I'm just like, this tastes nasty. But if that's what you're into, I heard, like, you know, Akita has some really good sake. The dialect in Akita is often referred to as akita-ben. And it doesn't even sound like Japanese to me. Even now, I have a hard time understanding elderly folks that have a thick Akita accent. As far as speaking it, I gave up on that a long time ago. All I can say is ndabe, ke, and asai. And I don't even really use them. I just know them, you know? Sometimes it's like nda nda nda. And then every time I use that, like someone who's not from Akita is like, oh, why are you speaking Akita? I'm like, don't, you know, misunderstand. That's literally all I know. Oh yeah, and then the Namahage always say, why are we koinega? Which honestly, the first time I heard that, I thought I was hearing the N-word. So there's a lot of like sounds in Akita-ben. So yeah, just be aware of that, I guess. Other interesting facts about Akita include the women of Akita are said to be extremely beautiful, often referred to as Akita bijin, even though not all of the girls on these Akita bijin posters are from Akita. Ripoff. Shoshika, or the declining birth rate, is a problem for Japan as a whole, but especially for rural prefectures, and Akita is among one of the places that is getting hit hardest by this. As of the posting of this video, Japan's Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is from Akita. I believe he's from Yuzawa, one of the towns that's kind of like slowly dying. But yeah, he's from Akita, and he's a really hard worker, apparently. Although not super popular in Japan, basketball is very popular in Akita, especially Noshiro, where Yuta Tabuse, the first Japanese person to play in the NBA, went to high school. The school is also featured in the anime Slam Dunk as Sanno Industry High School. Also, Akita is home to the world's largest taiko drum. And this last one is really kind of, I don't want to say controversial, but some people try to argue with it, but I truly believe it to be the case. Akita Prefecture is said to have the most attractive, funny, charming, charismatic, kind, thoughtful, and overall amazing ALTs, assistant language teachers. Just, you know, that's just from what I've read online, so I can confirm it anecdotally, but I don't think there's been any studies about it. Again, you're gonna have to research that for yourself. But seriously though, guys, Akita has been my home for the past 3 years, and while it hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies all the time, I found living here to be an extremely valuable experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. As long as I am in Japan, Akita, and more specifically my small city of Katagami, will always feel like my kokyo, my small hometown. And if you ever live in Akita, I hope you can have a similar experience as me and come to love it. But if you live elsewhere in Japan, I hope you have the same experience and come to love where you live. And if you never live in Japan or whatever, but if you come to visit, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you fall in love with Japanese culture, Japanese people, all that good stuff. And I hope maybe one day you can find your way to Akita and enjoy some of the things that I've talked about. There we have it. And maybe some of you have been to Akita or lived in Akita. Maybe I'm missing something. Comment down below if I missed anything. But anyways, thanks for checking out the video and watching to the end, guys. I love you guys. Check out some of my other videos and whatever. Hit the subscribe button, blah, 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 Instagram, Twitter. I do it all. Yeah. Peace out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.